We're joined now by Senator Capito.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I'd like to thank the ranking member because I was on the conference committee for MAP 21, and some of the things, we just had our West Virginia transportation folks in yesterday, and some of the reforms that were in that bill, we're reaping the benefits. They're very complementary in how it's working state to federal. So hopefully we can continue to do that. One of the things I wanted to ask about, and I apologize for not being here for the initial testimony, is the public-private partnerships. That's another thing that I heard from my state DOT was we're really maxing this out in West Virginia, going in a cautious way, but it's incredible to me the amount of savings that these three Ps can do for a state and really stretch our dollars. Route 35 in my old congressional district is a great example. We're about ready to let a contract out, or they have a request for bids right now. So what I would just ask one question, then I've got two questions. So whoever wants to answer this, maybe Mr. Braceras, what experiences have you had with the use of PPPs, and do you have any suggestions for the next generation of PPP?
Thank you, Senator, for that question. I think, first of all, you have to look at what you would define maybe as a P3 and a public-private partnership. And it's really a spectrum of how you do your work. We outsource almost all of our design engineering, most of our construction engineering, and obviously all the construction. We were the first state to utilize design build on a highway infrastructure, one of the first states to use construction manager general contractor. And basically, the more we can define outcomes that we want to achieve and leave the means and methods to those that are doing the work, the better we're going to see better outcomes, we're going to see better value returned to the taxpayers. So I encourage further, any expansion, any abilities to help bring the private sector in as partners in delivering our program. We're a relatively small state, and some people look at P3s as maybe under a tolling arrangement. We've done some analysis on that. We've also looked at availability payments in doing this as well. So all of these are tools. I don't believe they're an answer to the financial answer to our transportation system, but I think they're important components that we need to keep available.
Well, I think they add predictability too, and at this point when we've got low interest rates, this is where we should really be maximizing this opportunity. I'm going to pivot here to Mr. Rardin and ask a question on ground level ozone. Ozone in a highway hearing, yes, you wonder about that, but they're very linked, as you know. EPA recently proposed a change to the national standard for ground level ozone that will most likely end up between 60 and 70 parts per billion. We don't know exactly where they're going to set that standard, but my entire state would be out of compliance, the state of West Virginia, meaning significant highway projects that are vital to West Virginia could be delayed or compromised, and those jobs would be lost. Let me just give you an example. If you've ever been to the Greenbrier, which I hope you all go and please visit, it's a very rural part of West Virginia. That county is Greenbrier County. That would be out of compliance with the new ozone limits that are being talked about. So I would ask you a question. What difficulties could states face in implementing these new measures to meet a more stringent ozone standard?
It's a very significant concern on the part of manufacturers, Senator. I think the challenge that we see as manufacturers, and again, based on my role as the small medium chairman of the small medium manufacturing group, which represents 12 million of the 13 million manufacturing folks that are working here in the U.S. Key concern is it will not only defer, delay, increase cost from the highway standpoint, but the broader concern that we've got as it relates to, as you move closer to the effectively background level of ozone, costs go up exponentially and the benefits go down dramatically. And our concern is very, very significant as it relates to, back to your point of the entire state of West Virginia. Our analysis shows that about 97% of the U.S. potentially would be in a non-attainment zone, which would de facto freeze development from a manufacturing standpoint. So this is a huge concern, not only as it relates to our quest in terms of moving the highway bill forward and continued infrastructure development, but the broader manufacturing industry at hand.
Right, and then that obviously is transportation projects as well, particularly larger ones. So, Mr. Chairman, I would like to say that I know this is an area which you have great concern as well. And it's amazing to me that we're going to put new standards on ozone regulation when the compliance hasn't even been achieved to a significant amount in the former standards that were placed upon the rest of the country. So I want to join with you and shed a light on this and see how we can do this better, and I think there are lots of ways we can. Thank you all very much.